Hello soulmates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we'll be drafting the pattern of this Veekee James blouse. So in this tutorial, like I said, it will be the pattern drafting, and this tutorial will be divided into three parts: the sleeve, the back bodies, and also the front bodies. So in the subsequent tutorial, we'll be sewing this. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and also turn on the bell icon so that you can get notified when I drop the sewing tutorial. So without wasting much time, let's start drafting. So guys, for this tutorial we'll be starting with the back bodies, and this is what my basic back bodies looks like. As you can see, the zipper allowance, I added 1 inch for this zipper allowance, and then the shoulder, the armhole, the bust, the waist, which is also the half length, and this is the blouse length, which is also the hip line. So that is the basic things I have on this pattern. As you can see, I've already drafted my armhole also. So we'll be starting with the bust. Before measuring, if you notice the zipper allowance will confuse you, it is best to just fold it inside. If you won't get confused like me, you can just leave it open, then you start measuring. So we'll start with the bust, and your bust divided by 4. My bust is 34 inches and 34 divided by 4 is 8.5. So at my waist area, I will measure my waist divided by 4 also. My waist is 24 and 24 divided by 4 it is 6 inches. Then I'll be adding that allowance to my waist line. I'll be adding that allowance. I'll be adding that allowance of 1 inch. So at the hip area, you measure your hip measurement. My hip is 35, so I'll be measuring 35 inches divided by 4, which is about 8 3/4. Then I'll be adding extra 1.5, because if you notice, the top is not fitted at the hip area, so I'm adding just extra 1.5. It is not the sewing allowance, this is just for the hip to be free. So now you connect the point you have just like the way I'm doing. So you also connect the hip area. So what I'll be doing now is to connect the my actual hip at first, then I'll be connecting the one that I added 1.5. So I will not be using the one that is my actual hip. I'll be using the one that I added 1.5 inches to. So that is the one I'll be redrawing with marker very soon. So you may ask that what is my blouse length? The blouse length I'm working with is 22 inches, but I later remove 1 inch from it because of the front, because the front is longer, and if the back is also long, it won't bring out the beauty. So I want the back will be kind of short, not too short, but the front will be longer than so from my half length I just added 7 inches. Like I said, I deducted 1 inches after, so from, let's just say, from my half length downward I just added 6 inches. That is, my half length is 15 and I added 6 inches downward. So at this hip edge, I'll be measuring 1 inch upward. I'll be slanting these parts with just 1 inch. Then I'll use my French curve to connect this point. I'm making this video very slow so that you can understand, because I get some comments that my videos are always too fast. So I'm making this video very slow so that you can understand. So it's time to draw our darts. So I'll be measuring my darts at this point. So at my waist half length, I'll measure my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. My nipple to nipple measurement is 7, so 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. Please, I'm measuring after the zipper allowance. So it is after the zipper allowance that I'm taking my measurement. So don't confuse and measure it with the zipper allowance. So for this area, what I'll be doing is to just go down by 1 inch. Then I'll just be rolling this line. Yeah, just a short line. For this other side, I'll just be going downwards by 5.5, or just like 1 inch below, like 1 inch above the blouse length. So I'll just roll a short line across the side also. Then I will measure my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. Mine is 3.5, so I'm not measuring it with the zipper allowance. I'm saying this again, please. So I have 3.5 there. So what I'll be doing is just to roll a straight line. So I'll roll a straight line at this point here. Then the next thing to do is to take in half inch on both sides at the one at the half length area. This is just the normal way of drafting, making your darts. Then I'll just be connecting it just like this, just to make the darts. That's all. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to prevent zip bulging. So to prevent zip bulging at this half length area, I'll be going in by something in between half and three and quarter inch. So it is not up to half and it is more than quarter inch. So I'll just be connecting it upward, just a little bit upward, and I'll just be slanting it downward too. This is just to tighten the waist area and prevent zip bulging. So this is what I have. So I'll be cutting that part away. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to measure my neckline, and for this neckline I'm using 3 inches, 3 inches by 1 inch, 3 inches by 1 inch. Then I'll just be making the curve. After the neckline, the next thing I want to do is to do my shoulder slope. So as usual, I'll go down by 1 inch at that shoulder area, then I'll just slant it to the tip of this neckline. So that is my shoulder slope. So since we are done with this, the next thing I'll be doing is just to cut out this pattern. So it is this back bodice that I'll be using to draft the front because of the asymmetric M line of the front. So that is why I drafted the back first, so it will be more easier for me. So this is the part I cut out. Then I'm cutting out this part here also. So this is what my back bodies look like, and I'll label it back. Yes. So like I said earlier, that from my waistline downward I added 7, and after thinking about this I observed that it will be too long, the back will be too long. That is why I'm removing about 1 inch here. So what I'm removing here right now is 1 inch. So I'm trying to measure it to be sure, and it is 1 inch I'm removing. So I'll be cutting this part out. So my length for the back is 21 inches. So it was 22 before, but now I'm removing 1 inch, so it is now 21. So since we are done, it is now time to draft our front bodies. So this is my back pattern. I'm folding the zipper allowance inside. Then I'll be placing it on a pattern paper that is folded. As you can see, it is folded. So the distance that I'll be placing it is 8 inches. So I'll be using 8 inches. I later increased this, so you have to watch it to the end so that you can understand. It's always good to watch a video to the end so that you can see any adjustment or any correction done. So I used 8 inches at first, but I later increased it, which you'll be seeing later. So I'll be placing this on it, make sure it is okay, it is rhyming with it. So the next thing I'll be doing after placing this is to just trace it out. So I'll trace it out using my tracing wheel. I'm tracing out every part. So guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, if you haven't liked this video, if you haven't dropped a comment, please drop a comment. And if you don't know what to drop, please just drop any emoji of your choice. Just drop any emoji. Thank you. So now I'm using my pencil to just rule out all the lines that I transferred before I use marker. So that was why I drafted the back first, so that I can easily transfer the back to the front. So this is what it looks like. So what I'll be doing now is to just cut out this upper part. So after cutting it out, I will open up this pattern because I have to just work with it opened. We don't have to fold this, we have to work with it. So I will open it up and also transfer these lines to the other side of the pattern paper. So I'll be transferring the lines also. So this is the midpoint of my pattern. That's the midpoint right there. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to rule a line. I want to rule a line across this dot over there. So depending on where you want the slantness to be, so you can choose the other side, but from the picture it is at this side. That is why I'm using it. So I just rule the line downward just like this. So the next thing I'll be doing is to curve this part. This is just for a guide for the front, so I'm curving it just like the way I curve the back, so that it can serve as a guide for me. So after that, at this part here, I'll be extending it from the blouse length. I'll be extending it downward by 2 inches. So I'll be extending it by 2 inches, then I'll be connecting it. But after I connected this, I noticed it was wrong, so I'll be making a correction just now. So I'll be making a correction now. So what I'll be doing is to measure 2 inches at this part. I'm measuring 2 inches to the right and 2 inches to the left, so that's 4 inches there. Then I'll be extending these darts. So the lower dart, I'll be extending it just like this. So when I placed the ruler on this, I noticed it was bending, so I observed that it won't be correct. So what I now did was to just slant this. So I just make sure my ruler was aligning with the lower dart, as you can see. So I'll be rolling this downward. I'll be rolling it downward like this. Then for this other side, to correct it, I'll be rolling this other part to downward. So I'll be rolling this other part to downward like this. As you can see, the first line I drew is now incorrect. So this line now, it is not correct. So I'll just be shading it out. That line is not correct. So what you just have to do is to place your ruler like this, then you roll it down, and you place it also here, then you roll it down. So now I erase the lines that I said are not correct, so just ignore those parts. So let me use marker to rule the correct lines so that you can understand. I'm sorry if this is confusing you. This is also my first time of drafting this pattern. So this is what we have right now. So from this blouse length, I'll measure 2 inches downward. As you can see, that line, you measure 2 inches downward, then you now connect this. You connect it just like this. It is almost the same like the one we drew before, but this one is more correct. So this is what we have. And for this part here, we'll be connecting it to the edge of this blouse. So I notice I've not rolled this out, so I'll be rolling it out right now. If you don't understand any part of this video, please drop a comment and I'll be glad to respond to you as soon as I see them. So I'm trying to draft out this. So I'll be connecting this point right here downward. So I'll be connecting this downward just like this. So after looking at this pattern, I noticed it was not too long. So I'll be extending this later. I'll be extending it later. So guys, just a quick recap of what I did here. So I extended this line like downward just like this, then this one just downward like this, then I connected this downward by measuring 2 inches from here to here, then this one I connected it downward, then I connected it to the side. So that is what we did here. So now let's move to our neckline. As I told you earlier that the midpoint should take 3 inches on both sides. That's 6 inches. So the neckline will be 6 inches. You know this pattern is not on fold, so it is opened. So it is 6 inches we are measuring. Then I'll be rolling a line downward. You make sure this line is straight. So you make sure it is straight, then you roll it downward. So after rolling it downward, so the next thing is to slant this to meet the line. So for the length, I'm using my armhole length, which is 7.5. But if you notice your armhole length will be too low for you, please just measure 7.5 on the pattern. But my 7.5, I feel it will not be too low for me. So that was why I use. So you connect the other edge to meet the line at the desired point. Like I said, I'm using my armhole. So as you can see, the slanted neckline that we have. So now I've extended my pattern paper, as you can see. So what I'll just be doing is to measure 2 inches downward. So 2 inches downward. So if you are extending it from the back bodice, just add 10 inches instead of the 8 inches that we added earlier. So just add 10 inches so that you can have what I'm having now. So I'm extending this line also, and I'll be reconnecting this part here. So I'll be reconnecting this part here to meet this edge. So even if you can notice from the pattern, as you can see that the new line will be pointed compared to the first line we drew. So this new line will be very pointed and it will be very nice compared to this initial one. The initial one too is nice, but I feel this one is better. You can let me know which one you prefer. Is it the longer one or the shorter one? Just let me know in the comment section. So now, since we've extended this part, the lower part is looking okay. The only part remaining now is the scallop design made at the neckline. So now it's time to connect this part. You know there will be an opening at this point. If you don't know, there will be an opening here. So after I was done, I noticed that the line was not connecting very well. But what I should have done was just to connect it. But I wanted it to meet with that very well. But I feel I should just have connected the tip of the neckline just to the tip of the armhole, or tip of the dart rather. That is the tip of the neckline to the tip of the dart. But I later reshaped this, which affected the neckline. So it is still okay because there's not much difference. If you notice, there's not much difference at this neckline. I just have to reconnect this like this. So this is just what I have to do. So you may be lucky when you are connecting your neckline to your dart, it may be perfect. It may be perfect. So if it is perfect, you don't have to bother. So now it's time for us to cut. When you are cutting, please be careful to know which part you are cutting, so you don't cut out the part that should be left. So just watch the way I'm cutting. So we'll be cutting away this particular dart right here. We don't need it. So we'll be cutting away the dart. Then we'll be cutting this other part. So that means we'll just be sewing one dart on this fabric. So as you can see the neckline, I've not removed this part here. This is because of the design, but if you don't want the design, you can just remove the neckline. We'll be doing the design very soon and you will see. So I've removed this and it is time for us to draw the neckline design. So I'm just trying to fit in this to see what we have and it looks okay. So this is the neckline, and to be honest, I just freestyled with this neckline. So the first thing I did was to divide this my neckline into two. Then after that, I'll be making a scallop edge here. I'll just be drawing this with my free hand. So you can just watch what I'm doing and just do the same thing for yours. So I just measured 1 inch upward at that line. Then I'll be measuring 1 inch also downward. And I'm measuring another 1 inch below. So what I will do now is to roll this just like this. Like I said, I just freestyled with this. If you know you can't go through this stress of making this, just make it straight and trust me, it will be fine. So at this part here, I went inside. So I went outside by the one at the top, then I went inside by the one below. So let me know if you enjoyed this tutorial, because I really make this tutorial very slow so that you can understand. Let me know if you like tutorials like this or you prefer the faster one. So just let me know in the comment section. So after cutting, this is what we have and our patterns are ready. So the next thing to do now is the sleeve. So for this sleeve, this is my basic sleeve. So my basic length, that is from my shoulder to my wrist, is actually 21 inches. But because I want it to be longer, so you determine where you want it to get to. So for me, I want to extend it by 3.5. So that's why I added 3.5 at the wrist area. So whatever I have at the wrist, I will add 1.5 to it. So I have 4.5 at the wrist. So adding 1.5 to it is 6. So I'll just be slanting this like this. I'll be connecting this point here down to the nail line below, because for this kind of sleeve it is always wide at the edge. Then I'll be blending this part in so that it doesn't look sharp. I'm trying to use my marker to roll it out for you to see. So this is all about the sleeve. So you go ahead and you just cut. So when you cut, this will cover your hand definitely. So if you want the pattern for the sleeve, that is the initial pattern, I will link it up here, or it will just be in the description box or the comment section, or you can just indicate in the comment section too. So this is the sleeve. So now we are done with the pattern drafting, and this is the sleeve. This is what it looks like. This is the back bodies. This is the sewing zipper allowance for the back bodies. So I'm cutting out the neckline now. I forgot initially. So I'm cutting it out. Then this is the front bodies. So the only thing left is to transfer this to our fabric. Then we'll cut, then we'll sew in the subsequent tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.